Canvas's mastery paths allows instructors to design individualized or tailored learning pathways for students depending on the course design or students' performance level or the mastery level. So for example, in this module, it starts with introduction and then initial assessment. Based on that result, students will be ushered to different activities that is appropriate for their mastery level. And if once they complete this first part, and then they'll move on to the next part of that storyline or the learning pathways, and then they'll go through the same process. So let's take a quick look at basic scheme in this example. So addition in mathematics is a foundation for multiplication. So if if a student had mastery of addition, they will be asked to move on to the multiplication assignment. If they are not reach the mastery for addition, then they will go to the addition activities. So depending on each assignment or learning activity's performance, let's say in the multiplication assignment, students get over 70%, let's say that's the mastery level, and then they'll move on to the next sequence, in this case subtraction and division. It's basically the same scheme as the addition and the multiplication. So, but what about the students who do not reach the mastery in multiplication? So let's say you determine that is the not so sound foundation for addition, so you will send them to the addition learning activity assignment. So once they reach the over 70% mastery, then they will have access to the multiplication. If they don't, then they will be ushered to tutoring or some other learning activities that will support the students get back on track. And then once they go through the multiplication, then they will be advanced to the next level, and so on. Okay, so let's take a look at our layout here. So here's the initial assessment, the quiz 1, and then second assessment, and there's a third assessment. And let's take a look at how students will see. So this is what students will see. And let's go ahead and minimize that. So initially, students will see this page, introductory page, and then they will be able to access or to take the quiz. And notice that it says locked mastery pass quiz 1 is graded. So it'll tell the students there are other activities waiting for them once they take the test, the quiz or assessment. So let's take that and take the quiz. And let's say I'm going to say 1 plus 1 is equals to, that's a grammar error, but let me move on. Let's say I will say 11, which is incorrect, and go ahead and submit it. So it tells the assessment that I need additional work for addition part of the mathematics. So notice that it opens up the addition assignments or learning activities. So I'll go through this and then I'll go ahead and submit kind of proof of activities. Let's say it is 2 and submit assignments. And then let me just go back to my instructor view and take a look at the addition assignment, and then speed grader, and I'm going to give them, let's say, 85. And then I come back as a student and I see that I not only, let's see, I have addition which I completed, but now I also have a multiplication opened up. So let me just go ahead and do that. I'm going to submit. Let's say I'm going to say submit something. Of course, it would not do it because I'm supposed to submit an assignment file. But let's say I did submit it. And let's do the quick grading. And then go to multiplication, speed grader, and this time I'm going to give her, let's say, 100. And then let's go back to the student's view. And then okay, there you go, quiz 2 would opens up, and then it's basically the same scheme, whether the student has mastery of this level, and depending on my performance, then I'll be ushered to different pathways. So this is again a very simplistic approach in mastery path. It's based on the student's performance, but it doesn't have to be just a student performance. It could be just student's choice. They can go path number 1 or B or third, whichever that you design to let the students create their own kind of adventure in learning, so that they will get more a sense of engagement as well as ownership of their learning. It's similar to like a game, online games. Students can choose different doors, for example, or options, or even these days movies. I heard that the audience can choose different options, different choices, so that each one will have a different endings and so on. So as you can see, that's how you can increase this student interaction and engagement with their learning. Okay. This page, the introductory page, has a link to some basic information about mastery paths, such as this video, and also Canvas, link to the Canvas page. Okay, thank you. I just want to quickly go over the setups. So in this first module, I have the initial assessment. In this case, is a quiz. So in the quiz, everything is the same, the usual as other assessment quizzes. And one thing that you'll be paying attention is this section assigned to. So because this is the initial assessment, it is assigned to everyone, which is the default choice. And then let's go back up to the top, and then you'll see Mastery Paths tab. And this is where you're going to plug in the next activity, depending on the choices or the performance of the students. So in this case, I'm just basing on the students' performance level. So if they get, let's say 70%, and then they'll go to this activity. You can just add, click on this plus sign to add this the cards here. So this multiplication. So once they, if they have that the readiness, they'll go to this module or activity. If they're not, then they'll go to the addition assignment. So that is the setup. Then let's take a look at, let's say I want to go to, let's see what's happening in the addition assignment and how is it set up so that it could either send students to multiplication, which is the next in sequence, or let's say another activities, kind of remedial or support activities such as tutoring. How is it set up? So let's go to edit. So key thing you need to remember is whom is it assigned to. So instead of everyone, which is not the case, because only students who responded in a certain way in the previous assessment will be assigned to. So that's what you do. So it's instead of everyone, let me just go take that out. Instead of everyone, you select Mastery Paths. Okay, and then come back up here at the top, select the Mastery Paths tab, and again, depending on the outcome of the student's choice or performance, then you will add to different paths. You know, for example, okay, you finish the addition, go to multiplication, or reach out to different support and resources. And that's how you set up the navigation or the pathways that this diagram shows. So based on the initial assessment, go to assignment 1 multiplication or assignment 1 addition, and then after that you have a different pathways using basically assigning to Mastery Pathway students and give them which direction they're going to go. Okay, that's it. Thank you.